Welcome back to the Nobody Asked Our Opinion podcast. This is Jay Jay.
And I'm Joanna.
And this is a podcast where two dum-dums just talk about pop culture and give our opinions even though you didn't ask for it. But we're going to give it to you anyways.
Hell yeah, we are.
How are you doing today, Joanna? How's life?
Life is good. We have a moderately successful podcast.
I know we have a UK listener. How's
we
that?
have a UK listener. Hey, Kim. I've got, for those of you who are friends with me on my Facebook page or follow me on Instagram, I definitely made a post about how we have a listener in the UK, and I was so excited to think that some random person found us. I got more excited to find out that a friend of mine from high school, many moons ago, was like, I thought I'd listen to you guys because we were friends before and I want to support you, and that warmed my heart. So shout out to the UK hon.
Thanks. What was her name? Kim?
Kim.
Thanks, Kim. Tell your friends.
Yes, let us blow up in other countries because that would be very us.
Wouldn't it be just our life that we're really popular in Europe for some reason, and Americans just think we're just stupid and ignore us?
I mean, that would check out. I want us to be big in Germany. Just super randomly.
Over Hasselhoff?
Yes. All right, you've heard it first. We are going to dethrone Hasselhoff, and we are going to be the new king and queen, or queen and queen? Queen and queen.
Queen and queen.
Queen and queen of Germany. Make it happen, friends.
Hashtag dethrone the Hasselhoff. Dethrone the Hoff.
Dethrone the Hoff.
Dethrone the Hoff.
Perf. So let's talk about what's been going on this past week since we've last sat here talking into this wonderful microphone. Oh, you were really excited about this first bit of news. Talk to us about Niecy Nash on Red Table Talk.
Have you seen any of the Red Table Talks?
I've seen clips. I haven't sat down and watched them in their entirety because I
mean, there's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot. And what I like about... I mean, it's clearly a vehicle for Jada Pinkett Smith to kind of join the talk show realm without actually being on a show like The View or anything like that. It's her, and I think it's her friend. I don't know who this lady is that's on there frequently, and then her daughter.
Okay.
And they talk to other celebrities about just their lives, and they often talk about really in depth, really deep topics, such as the women in Hollywood and the treatment of women in the workplace, and racism in America and things like that, and in addition to kind of frivolous things. But one of the most recent episodes, in fact, I think it's their premiere episode of their current season or their new season, is they had an episode with Niecy Nash. Do you know much about Niecy Nash?
Yes, I think Niecy Nash is great.
I love Niecy Nash in anything that she does. I loved her in... Did you see her... Did you watch that show, Scream Queens?
I saw bits and pieces. It was one that I was going to watch, and then it got canceled before I had a chance to watch it. So
yeah, it was one of those, it's... I guess it would be considered a blemish in Ryan Murphy's, pretty iconoclastic, repertoire.
Oh, I thought everything past season 1 of Glee was a blemish.
I mean... Retro, looking back, Glee does have kind of some problematic things. Niecy Nash was in Scream Queens.
She's also currently hosting The Masked Singer for Nick Cannon.
For Nick Cannon, who's got the COVID.
Who has the COVID, or at least did have the COVID while they were filming.
She also, she's in that TBS show Claws, which is actually really good. It's incredibly well made, and and she's actually, a really... her acting is top notch in it.
Work.
It's one of those things that oh, I didn't expect you to be actually really compelling as a character.
You get it, girl.
Because she plays this. She plays an entrepreneur. She owns her own nail shop, and she's an black woman entrepreneur who is taking care of her differently abled brother.
Okay.
And there's obviously all the the Hollywood drama that happens around all that kind of stuff, and they get mixed up with like I think they're in like Louisiana or some like southern state. There are swamps. I want to say it's like Florida or something.
Somewhere with swamps.
And they get like entangled with like some sort of organized crime. Anyways, it's a really good show, and they had her on because she recently like secretly got married to a woman. And the fact that it's a woman is not like a huge like point of contention. It's the fact that like all of a sudden she just like she pops out and is like, oh, I'm married, and I'm married to this woman. You know, despite having a history of only dating men and having 2 ex-husbands, one of which I learned she married on TV.
Huh? I mean,
like on a TLC show or something like that.
I mean, that checks for TLC.
But she was on the show to kind of talk about like her decision to kind of come out in her own way and talk about their relationship. And they're actually like she and her wife are super cute together.
Love it.
They've been friends for the longest time, and it wasn't only until recently where it was apparently Niecy who initiated the romantics. And they kind of were like, kind of playing it coy back and forth for a while until Niecy kind of made the first move to kind of make things go forward. But like, what's interesting is that she talks about, her unique experience as a Black woman coming out as, a member of the LGBT plus community, but not identifying as a lesbian. But right? Not correct. She doesn't really label herself in like she doesn't call herself a lesbian. She doesn't call herself even queer. She just says she just loves who I love. It's very, very kind of, she loves the person for the person, not necessarily the body that it's housed in or like the genitals or anything like that. Very that. I feel like as a society, we're slowly moving towards that, especially with the trans community, kind of, or non-binary community more specifically, or gender fluid, of people not really subscribing to what their genitalia is to identify what their gender is. So I think that, you know what, good for her. You love who you love, and here at Nobody Asked Our Opinion, we wish you a long and happy marriage to your wife. Yeah, and they're really adorable together. Like, just watching them just like kind of talk on the show it was really cute. Like, they are clearly in love. I don't know if it's like just for the cameras or whatnot. As with all Hollywood couples and relationships, I always kind of like take all the things I see with a grain of salt, because we don't really know what's going on behind closed doors or what's going on behind the cameras. They could just be playing it up just for this episode specifically. But they seem to be really, genuinely in love. They seem to be really, really, in like all in for the relationship. Niecy is beaming. She's like all smiles the whole time. And on the episode, not to like put pressure on women to always look good, but Niecy was looking good. She like waist snatch. She had like this skin tight like body, like really form fitting like dress on, and she was like beat to the gods with the best hair, and she was like living her happiest life. I mean, clearly. To be fair, Niecy Nash almost always looks put together. Oh, she's always got that nipped in. Yeah. No, she got the booty. She knows what's up. She knows how to make that booty. She got the shape, and I'm excited for her. Well, let's move on to our next topic. Let's talk about some controversy with the TikTok. More TikTok things. So I find it super ironic that JJ and I are sitting down talking about TikTok because neither of us are on TikTok. Both of us refuse to download the app. Not to say that we completely live under a rock and we aren't aware of TikTok and aren't ready to promote the content on the TikTok, because like some of those people put out some good stuff. I see TikTok videos because people text them to me. Oh yeah, most of my TikTok consumption comes from my boyfriend
Oh, yeah.
texting.
Same, because he texts both of us.
Yeah, texting us just like random ass TikToks that he thinks are funny or hilarious or incredibly offensive.
Usually incredibly offensive. Sometimes they're great and I chuckle, and sometimes I'm like, why did you send this to me? And sometimes I'm like, holy crap, this is phenomenal. So, I mean, it's here, there, and everywhere. But in recent days, we had some TikTok dance controversy with Addison Rae and Jimmy Fallon, where people are not crediting TikToks created by Black artists.
Yeah, the big the controversy in this segment in particular is having a very white, young TikToker presenting these dances, and not all, but a good chunk of those dances were created by Black artists or Black choreographers, and none of which are accredited in the actual segment. They just like the picture that I'm seeing is he's just holding up a cue card with the name of the dance. There is no like, you know, you can't find the like
anywhere on there
or a hashtag or anything like that to kind of promote the creators of the dance, and a good chunk of which are people of color, not just Black, but people of color. And that, you know, it's a kind of another example of white culture kind of erasing and not giving credit to the Black content creators that often get kind of pushed off by the wayside. And then, you know, Addison Rae, who I don't know who this girl is.
I've not a clue. I literally, like, you put the note on our podcast notes, and I was like, I don't understand who this person is or why they're significant in pop culture, but sure.
She's apparently like one of the biggest TikTokers of all the TikTokers.
Cool.
You know, it's a you know, young, pretty white girl who does all like the trendy TikTok dances and TikTok challenges and things like that. I think her following is like in the like several millions. And so, like, you know, on a platform where anybody can create content, this proves really problematic that we're, you know, giving this you know, very white performer this huge platform and not giving the credit to the content creators that allow her to do the things that she's doing.
No, absolutely. And I think that her being a very white person isn't like, okay, a super successful TikToker shows up on Jimmy Fallon, happens to be white. Cool. The problem is really at the end of the day is that we're not crediting the people who are creating the content that's being used. And I don't know how common that is in the TikTok realm, as far as like, I don't know if people just in general they just do a dance that they see and then nobody ever credits it, or if is it something that's super common in TikTok? I don't know. Like, if it's something that nobody ever does, this makes it still problematic, but not necessarily as like, how dare you not when everybody else does it? But if nobody does it, you're kind of like, nobody's doing it, but like...
Every time I see a TikTok challenge, they always almost like at the person who created
that thing. Okay,
challenge,
cool.
Or like they give like credit to blah 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 blah.
Okay, work. Then never mind. These people are trash, and they need to start giving credit where credit is due.
It's a huge oversight on, honestly, like the production team on Jimmy Fallon. Like, you would think that somebody on their team would be like, "Hey, we should probably like credit some of these dances."
Well, I mean, or if it's something that's done regularly on TikTok, you would think that Addison Rae would have the foreknowledge to doing that many challenges, doing that many things, and then constantly knowing that the etiquette on TikTok is to credit the person who created it, to say, hey, we need to credit these people because this is what I do on my TikTok. And if that doesn't happen... But I mean,
happen, like, that just speaks to kind of her privilege, like, that she can get away with that and still amass millions and millions of followers.
I mean, again, I don't understand TikTok or understand... Like, to me, she's nothing, but to the millions of people who follow her, I hold her accountable. At the end of the day, hold her accountable. If you see somebody doing something where they're not crediting the source where they got it from, I mean, if you do that on a paper, that's plagiarism. Like, you can get kicked out of college.
Yeah, you can get kicked out of school, and like that's a blemish on your academic career forever.
Yeah.
And to make things even, to kind of exacerbate the situation, TikTok is a huge platform that if you're, in the really top tier content creators, you can make a lot of money. And so not only are these artists, people, these BIPOC artists not being credited for their work, they're also losing out the money and ad revenue that they can have possibly used to get to further their own channels, but it's all going to this pretty white girl, and it's a huge that becomes you can even kind of scope out and take a look at kind of how the music industry in general kind of takes black artists and kind of pushes them aside for in lieu of a white person that can take over the. How did rock and roll start? I mean,
absolutely. We can sit down and talk about how Elvis Presley, a white man, recorded a song written and performed originally by a black man and got famous off of it. But we could be talking about this for hours.
Oh, for sure.
For hours. And let's be real, Jonathan doesn't want to have to edit around 9 hours of us ranting about the inequality of and privilege of white people compared to people of color. So we should probably talk about something happier. But at the end of the day, give credit where credit is due and support the people who create that content and started the content, not just the, cute little white girl doing the dance.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
But we do need the cute little white girl to do the dance because you want to see the dance also. But credit the people who created it.
Yeah. And it's just strange that, on a platform like Jimmy Fallon, that was such a huge oversight. Because they've, on other segments, they've easily credited songwriters and content creators. It's just this one segment, they fell short. They fell very, very short.
Wah, wah. We have no budget. I make our sound effects.
Oh, we need to get a soundboard. That would be fun if we had a soundboard. No, because we would just be like...
We can't be trusted with sounds. That's why we have Jonathan.
He's like, no, don't give these...
I see grim looks from the producer. We need to move on. We can't entertain this idea any longer. Let's talk about your favorite power couple in Hollywood.
Okay, so I really love Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. Not only are they ridiculously beautiful people, but yes. Ryan Reynolds he's hilarious. He is so just silly.
Oh no. They both are.
They both are. Because the best part about it is Blake gives it back to him
just as strongly.
Just they are easy. They can volley back and forth. Trolling each other on Twitter, on Instagram, and things like that. And I bring this up because Ryan Reynolds just posted a picture of him getting the COVID vaccine, and he tagged his wife in this a picture where you've seen the picture, right?
Yes.
Yeah, where he's because when he's taking the vaccine, he's in a kind of stocking cap. I guess he looks disheveled. He's just wearing a shirt. But he split screens it with a picture of his wife who's haggard looking with the same stocking cap on. I think it's a behind the scenes photo of when she was on set or something, and he's like, who wore it better? And I'm like, oh my god, this is... We
will make sure this picture is posted on our Instagram. We will reshare it from Ryan Reynolds' Instagram, and we'll give credit.
Yes, and we'll give credit to Ryan Reynolds, who doesn't really need the credit.
He doesn't need the credit, but we are a podcast with integrity, and when we set standards, we follow them. But no, they're adorable. Remember when Blake Lively was... Oh, she was in that movie with Anna Kendrick, and she unfollowed everybody except for a few people, and everybody made a big deal of the fact that she unfollowed her husband.
Oh my god! All they do is just troll. It's the fact that all they do is just troll each other on social media, and I think it's because they think. Well, I have no idea. I'm completely speculating, but I'm sure they're just this is really dumb. Let's just do this just for.
Oh no! I 100% believe that they're Ryan Reynolds wakes up in the morning. It's like, my wife is the most beautiful, wonderful person in the world. How can I piss her off today?
How can I take her down a peg?
And I'm sure Blake Lively does the same thing. I'm married to Ryan Reynolds. I am like, this man is gloriously wonderful. He is my husband. I'm going to destroy his life today. And
by humiliating him on social media.
Like, millions of people are going to see this, and it's going to be great. And you know what? I strive to that kind of wonderfulness in my next relationship.
It's like, we need to get into a fake Twitter beef just to make our lives that much more interesting.
We should get into a fake Twitter beef with a different podcast. I don't know who yet. Like, just pick a random. It's like, you know what? We're coming after race chasers.
Yeah, fuck you, Willem.
I mean, let's be real though. Willem's gonna be like, "Who did I piss off? Who did I piss off today?"
Oh my god! Do you have any like fun like Hollywood couples that you're like, I really low key and high key like love these two?
Oh god, who do I am like? I don't know. I think like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are like the epitome of just like adorableness. Like, I think like their love is just so like apparent that I think
it's ridiculous. Like I've gone down YouTube holes of just Ryan Reynolds just gushing about how beautiful and how much he loves his wife.
Oh yeah, no, okay, I thought of one though. Neil Patrick Harris and David Burka. Mm-hmm. Their relationship is like so freaking like sweet and adorable and cute. Like, I'm like, how are you guys?
Their whole family.
Oh yeah, no, and they're like adorable twins, like children, like. I can't with them. Like every year during Halloween, everybody's like, what are they gonna dress up as? What kind of fucking cute ass like concept are they gonna pull off? What's the theme from the Harris Burka family this year? Let's see what's gonna happen, and it's always mind-blowingly wonderful. Like, no, I stand their relationship. I think it's great.
When they were together, I really enjoyed Chris Pratt and Anna Faris.
Oh, that one still hurts.
I know, and I may be bringing up some trauma, but like I thought they were like hilarious with each other, and I mean, like I said, you got to take Hollywood relationships with a grain of salt because you can only see a certain part of it. Clearly, there was something else going on in that relationship that caused it to end in divorce, but. I really like those two together. I like Kristen Bell and her husband Dax.
Dax Shepard?
Yeah.
Oh, they're cute together.
They're super cute. And what I like about them is that they are open about like their issues and their relationship.
Yeah, when they fight and stuff, they talk about it. And like, and it's a very real like inside look at like what a relationship really is, not just what Hollywood paints the picture of.
Yeah, and it's what's nice is that it's you get it from like both sides. Like, it's not just like, oh, it's the husband who can't like fulfill his commitments or whatever. Like, there's some shit that like Dax calls Kristen out on, and she's like, yeah, I fucked up, and I did that dirty, and I'm trying to be a better person about it.
No, I respect that. I respect that so much because it's important to realize that like there's no relationship that's perfect, and that you need to realize that people fuck up sometimes, that you need to sit down and have those conversations to fix things and constantly work on it, because a relationship is not a noun, it's a verb. Like, it's something you're constantly working on.
It's something that you are constantly doing, not it just doesn't exist.
Yeah. And I just realized we've been talking about the news for like 30 minutes, so we should probably move on to our next segment.
Oh, we should, yeah.
So
this is why we have to time things.
Because I even have on our outline like how much time we should be spending on this, and how much time we actually spend on it is always twice as long.
It's always so much longer.
But you know which segment is always the same amount of time?
Our Drag Race 20!
I'm questioning that theme song choice.
Should we have a theme?
We will work that out at some point. You work on that, boo boo. Okay, so I have the timer up, and we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, and we're going.
So just overall, like, how did you think that this episode compared to the last episode? How did it how did it?
Compare. So the roast versus the Henny I Shrunk the Drag Queens. This episode was amazing. I lived for the, like, even though the script was stupid, it's the Drag Race show. The script's always stupid. I thought it was so, like, stupid in the best way. Everybody shown, except for Olivia, very well. And I enjoyed overall, like, the entire episode. I thought, like, had peaks, it had valleys, it had levels, it had entertainment. I laughed, I cried. It was great. Whereas, like, the week before, even though it was, like, it was the best episode because it was so uncomfortable, and Utica's roast will live in infamy.
Yes, absolutely. I think that this is probably one of the better, like, movie spoofs that they've done. I feel like that it came together really well.
The props. The props.
The giant, like, hand, the cat paw,
the giant plug when they're climbing up the sewing machine. Although I do think it's funny that they filmed everything in front of a green screen instead of, like, they were on the main stage. They could have easily just walked over and filmed that on the main stage.
Absolutely.
But they're like, no, we're going to put this on a green screen because why? I don't know. It's a green screen challenge. Like, I don't get it.
Did you see some of the sight gags in the background of the...
The fact that Dayla's, like, whiteout lipstick was there was the best. I was like, it's Dayla! And then I went, oh.
You're like, hey! Oh.
I was like, Bendela Christ. I don't mean that, Dayla. If you ever want to be a guest on our podcast, if somebody knows her, tell her I love her.
We love you, Dayla.
I literally, when I watched
But you fucked up our lives.
I screamed out loud. I think I threw something. I think I threw my phone when I watched that episode. I was so angry. I was like, yeah. Anyways, I digress. The sight gags were great. The Dayla lipstick there was wonderful. The best bit of content that came out of that whole thing, even though I don't think she necessarily deserved the win because she didn't win, but Got Mix. Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Mwah.
Yeah, that's delicious.
Mwah. Wonderful. That was
absolutely good.
That was the content I was here to see. Although the real winner of that challenge was Michelle Visage.
Good honor. Yeah, she's like walking into the workroom. I'm gonna mop these bitches' makeup because I'm fucking Michelle Visage.
Yeah, it was so funny. And they're just like, I wonder if Carson's dressing room's open. I was like, yes. Yes. Like, you do it. And then the bullshit of them, they're like, this is so rude. They're like, what is that? Like, shaking. Like, it feels like an elephant. And
it's
then
like
Michelle
a pack of elephants.
Well, at first it was just an elephant, and Michelle Visage walks in. I was like, you shady horse. And then they go, it feels like a pack of elephants. And then it was Candy. I was like, did they change it when Candy decided to do that part? Because, like, imagine if it was, like, Gottmik playing that part. She's, like...
Oh, the tiniest little
twink. Like, walking in, and then, like, it feels like a pack of elephants. You're like, how? So I wonder if they, like, added that because Candy, and if they did, rude.
You're like, that's shade. That is shade. I think that they must have... it was clear that they wrote the characters based on the queens that were left.
Well,
it
yes.
seemed like each role were like, oh, this is, you could totally play this role.
But that being said, then why, when Candy she did a good job playing herself because that was what the character was based off of. But then they're like, I wish you played a different part. And then you're like, but you wrote it about Candy.
That's
the only one not playing themselves was Rosé, because Rosé is not a butch queen.
I mean, not at least.
Rosé has a very masculine face, but she is not a butch queen.
That 5 o'clock shadow would beg to differ.
But she's not a butch queen. She is she's a very feminine woman who has masculine features.
Yes.
And so none of those going through, like, none of those girls would have been, like, fit into, like, the butch queen. So they're like, and Peggy, and Rose got it.
It's like, you got facial hair. You're the Butch Queen.
But I mean, I do agree though with, I think Michelle said, was that she kind of wished that some of them played to a different type, because Candy did play the exact same type because she played the character that was based off of her. And Olivia played the same type of character because she played the character based off of like the combination of her and Utica. Like the kind of silly, stupid character. And, you know, even Simone was the same character that she has been since the first acting challenge.
Yeah, she always like portrays that same like what am I thinking of? The executive like person that she played in the first.
Well, but with like attitude, because the Sweet Tooth character for her soda brand was also very much that same type of character.
Same character, yeah.
And so it's very, very much that, and I kind of wish they would have mixed it up a little bit, which is why I think they're like Rosé one, because Rosé was the only one who was like not Rosé, like themselves. And again, though, everybody did a really good job. I mean, but we do need to talk about the fact that Olivia Lux was just god-awful in this challenge.
I mean, she's just not present.
She was, like, there was so many different ways to play that particular character. And she did her, like, roast character, which was not cute.
Well, the thing is, like, there was all, like, you could argue that even Gottmik's character was kind of...
It was Mick. It was annoying. It was an annoying version of Gottmik.
Well, it was Gottmik's Paris Hilton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Gottmik's Paris Hilton. And you can argue that like fulfills the same kind of role that Olivia's character was, like the kind of silly ditzy kind of character, but still like was kind of was still kind of fierce in their own way. Olivia played the character like completely vacant. Like it was like there was no soul. There was no, like I said, she was like, it wasn't like she was present.
Well, she played the character like the character was like 3.
Oh, like she played it like a child.
She played it like a child instead of just someone who was ditzy. And like even like the way she was like walking, where she's like, you know, with the little hands in the front and like the toddle,
the little shuffle.
Yeah, the little shuffle thing. Like it wasn't cute, and it just, there was so much more depth to that character that she didn't bring to it. And also I forgot like halfway through which one was supposed to be the dumb one and which one was the whiny one, because they were both dumb and whiny.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like those parts could have been, they were like, Gottmik's part gave me a lot of the same notes and beats as Olivia's part. Mm-hmm. But Gottmik did something more with it. Yeah. With those beats. Where Olivia, like I said, she just wasn't there. She like you said, kind of just played the same thing that she did in her roast character. Yeah. I always think like the judges, sometimes the judging is always like, sometimes the judging kind of pisses me off, because they like straight up give mixed signals to these girls like all the time. Yeah. They're like, oh, we want you to be more you,
but not that different.
but we also want to see variety, because like in a branding challenge, Tina was like, okay, I'm going full force with my fire and that kind of brand. And then they're like, it's a little too much you. We've seen this before. We've seen this before. We wanted to, get something else. And then, Candy Muse plays Candy Muse as the clown in that one acting episode. And you're like, oh, that was perfectly you. That was fantastic. And you played it just like we saw Candy, and we're like, well, which is it? Do you want to see me? Do you want to see less branding of me? Do you want to see different me?
What I will say, though, is that acting challenge was like the second challenge with all of the girls all together. So that was really on. And so you want to see like, oh, this is great. This is Candy. This is what you had your stamp all over it. This makes sense.
Yeah, but in this current challenge, she does the exact same thing. And they're like, oh, what we want to see more.
Because it's way later. I'm saying that we're looking at something that was from the very beginning of the season to now. They're like, we didn't see you grow at all. And so that critique makes sense. Tina Burner's, you're giving me too much Tina Burner in this soda challenge thing did not make any sense. Tina Burner should not have gone home that episode. Even though we called it beforehand, we're like, Tina's going to go home this week. And then we're like, oh, but Tina shouldn't have gone home this week. No, Olivia should have been in the bottom for that one instead of Tina. Because that was garbage.
Oh, her smiley.
Her smiley live soda. Like, because again, it was the same character. The
Same, yeah.
I'm going to find my soda because I'm sad smile. Like, it made no sense. She doesn't have a brand yet, or at least a strong enough brand to stand out. I think that Olivia's beautiful. I think that she is a fierce queen. I think that she puts wonderful things into the drag world, but I think she needs to, like they all said on the runway, she needs to just, fine-tune who she is.
Yeah, because they gave what was the runway was pockets. Hot Pocket.
Hot
Pocket.
Which also was an amazing runway.
It was so good. But
Olivia didn't have any pockets.
She didn't have pockets. She had a peplum that you could stick your hand in.
Yeah, she was like, they're over-exaggerated pockets. I'm like, girl, you're reaching, you ran out of clothes. But it was pretty.
And I think that's funny that they, this is one of the first times they really bring that fact and make it
because it's not a secret, because all of the queens later talk about oh yeah, man, and then we had no clothes at the end of that season. We were stretching, we were borrowing shit, trying to repurpose it to see how we can make it look different on the runway, because we didn't have any more clothes left. And so when Olivia walked out in that dress, I was like, girl, now I need to go back and look at all of your runways, which I haven't done yet, but to see which one was the pocket dress. What was really your pocket look? Because those aren't pockets. Unless that's what she specifically was like, they're pockets because they're big, and that wasn't...
Well, I was going to say, what other challenge could Candy have used that goddamn dress for? That pocket dress for?
Oh, her pocket dress?
Her pocket dress, yeah.
Okay.
That was specifically made for that challenge.
No, absolutely. Sure. All of the other girls' dresses were specifically made for that challenge.
No, but what I'm saying is, you could have gone back and which could she have swapped it out with? What could Candy's pocket dress? What other runway could that have possibly gone other than a pocket?
Yeah. No, absolutely. But I mean, but that's the difference, is that Olivia could have used that dress in a different challenge, and nobody would have been like, oh, that was and then look back at him and like, oh, that was your pocket dress that you wore. Because I've seen other dresses where I'm like, oh, that should have been on this challenge, but you wore it there. That makes sense. But there was no, if you would have shown that to me out of context and would have been like, what was the theme for this runway, and showed me Olivia's dress, I would have been like, I don't know, short peplums, over-exaggerated peplums, I don't know. But if you showed me Candy's dress, even though it was not well executed on her body for her frame.
Oh, not at all.
And also that hair was a terrible choice for her face.
There was a lot of...
The shape of her face does not work with a blunt cut that ends at your cheekbone, because it makes you
more
look
rounded.
It makes you look whiter. It should have been long with the same colors or something else. And honestly, the dress itself wasn't a bad dress. It just, the amount of fabric at the top didn't make sense for her shape. And I think if it was, it had less fabric on top, it wouldn't have been as bad as it was. There's just lots of things about it. But you showed me that dress, I would have been like, oh, those are pockets. Is the theme pockets? Because that's a lot of fucking pockets. Same thing with Rosé's dress, which was gorgeous. Oh my God, Rosé has never looked so good.
That's so good.
And then Got Mix was also phenomenal, except for that hair. That hair was too much for that dress.
Oh, that black kind of wavy?
Yeah, because it made her look super gothic in a way that wasn't what, it wasn't the theme of what that look was. But, and then it covered half of her dress. But if she wore any other hair, oh, that would have won. That was so smart. Just fucking a dress made out of watches. And then you open it up like a flasher, and then it has all of the pockets with the watches hanging out of it.
Very clever.
So smart. So smart. And then we have not talked about Simone Simonier. She was a literal pocket.
Yes, she was literally just in a pocket. It was in a denim pocket.
It was Simone in a pocket, and it was so fucking cool.
With that, like, Paramore, like, fiery red hair.
Can we also talk a minute about the fact that wig is what Bob, the drag queen, thinks that her wig looks like on First Impressions?
Oh, God. Has that bitch got 400K yet?
No, I think I want to say she said that that James Mansfield has agreed to style the wig, and Bob was going to send it over, but I think now Bob's like, well, maybe I should just keep it because it's a staple. And I'm like, no, I want to watch the video of James Mansfield
absolutely
recreating that wig or doing something to it, because one, James's wigs are amazing.
Yeah.
And two, that wig needs to die because it is not cute. It is not the tea. It needs to go away.
Bob was delusional in that, like, oh, maybe this is like my zhuzh.
Although I'm going to legit say, so I listened to Sibling Rivalry this morning on my way here, and when they're talking about the runway, Bob, like, legit is like, so Monet, Simone's hair, does it look familiar?
Ew.
Although Monet did, like, just shut that down. It's like, Bobby, that's what you wish your hair looked like. That's what you think you look like in that wig. It is not it.
It's like that meme is like, oh, what you think, like, you're, it's like what you buy off of Amazon versus what arrives or something like that.
Bob has the Wish version of that.
Yes, he has the Wish
wig.
version of Simone's wig.
Because also, Full Tea, that wig was styled by Gigi Good.
Absolutely. Gigi Good, like, was like, yeah, we, like, because you were talking about, like, she was on Pit Stop
with Trixie.
And she was talking about, like, yeah, like, people would be surprised at, like, all the references that Simone, because you think, like, Simone is, like, this, like, fiercely black queen, and she's, like, very, like, that's her, like, you know, core message, but she's, like, into, like, Paramore and like metal and things like that, and you're like, yes, Simone,
I live
get that
for that
eclectic life. But yes, I love the. I mean, I do agree. I think the bottom two were obviously the bottom two.
Yeah, and
at this point, it was pretty obvious.
Yeah, it was Olivia and Candy, and Candy did win that lip sync. Barely, but she won that lip sync.
I think I honestly thought this was close.
It was a very close one. Like I said, very close. Barely, but I think Candy did win that lip sync. And honestly, when you sit down and look at the two of who you think, like, has more to show, I feel like Candy has more to show than Olivia does.
Yeah, I think you said it before. Olivia hasn't quite yet found her branding and, like, her like, really pinpoint what her aesthetic as Olivia Lux is, and we forget she's, like, a very young queen. She's been barely doing drag for not even a year.
I think she said 11 months.
Yeah, so, like, she definitely is still, like, even in. Did you watch Untucked?
I saw highlights from Untucked.
Well, even on Untucked, she said, like, I came here to kind of explore, and then Rosé's response was like, well, that's the difference between you and us, because you came to explore. None of us did.
Yeah, we've already done that.
We've already done that.
No, I did see that part. But yeah, no, very that. I think that...
Very that!
Oh,
see something? Oh, God, we are fucking annoying.
If Delta and Raja can do it and have a successful podcast, we can do it and have a moderately successful podcast.
And... Raja and Delta, please hit us up if anybody knows.
Right, Delta has legit worked in Sacramento. We would love to give her a Sacramento platform. Just saying. But at the end of the day, it is still Simone's Drag Race. I think that, like, Simone had a very, like, an equal opportunity with Rosé to win this challenge, and they're like, we can't give Simone 5 wins.
We can't give all the wins to her. And I love how, like, the entire the edit was, like, such a huge.
Oh yeah, this woman's gonna be garbage in this challenge. She is so scared. And then you're like, am I supposed to believe she's doing bad right now? And then you watch the whole thing, like, Simone, that was so good. I was like, oh, thank God. Like,
yeah.
Don't.
And they gave her, like, this, you know, allowed her to, like, give the sob story, but, like, I just want to be perfect. I want to, like, you know, do my sisters proud, and, like, and you're like, oh, no, they're really paying her out to, like, leave. And
I know. I was like, are they really going to send this bitch home right now?
Is this happening for her? And then you're like, she kills it on the runway, and then kills it in the challenge, and you're like, oh, she's solid.
She's absolutely fine.
Solid.
Yeah. Like I said, it is very nice of Simone to let all of these girls have a chance to shine on her Drag Race.
Absolutely.
It is Simone's Drag Race, and you can't tell me otherwise. And I think that
Nope, you can't say it. You can't say it. You don't get to.
Okay, well, never mind. You don't get to know what I think. You got cut off last week, so it's fine. So you'll find out next week what I think, if I remember what I was going to say.
I mean, I definitely did not remember.
I don't remember what we were talking about last week either. We were talking about something that wasn't the current episode. But that was our Drag Race 20, and we will take a quick break.
Let's take a quick break.
And we're back.
Hello.
Hi. That was a great break, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I did like lots of like pull-ups and.
You fucking liar. I just said that we are a podcast of integrity, and you are lying to these people right now. That is not okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, and apparently your cat is at our table right now.
Yeah, I see. But as long as he doesn't like.
As long as he's quiet. Yeah, don't be an asshole. I know that's difficult for you. All right, so let's talk about some Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
So we actually got to watch this episode together, and it was glorious.
Oh, for sure. And just, I think, a couple of things that I thought were interesting. I did a lot more research after, because you had mentioned that, like, Madripoor was really big in the, like, Marvel Universe, and yes. I was like, I've never heard this. But apparently, like, Wolverine has, like, huge ties to Madripoor, and
it's big in the X-Men universe.
Yeah, big in the. I mean, I don't claim to be an expert on any of these comics, but like,
what?
I know it's like you would think, just because with this, perfectly cultivated persona that I have,
Yes, it's very off-brand for you to not know everything about Absolutely. The superhero shit.
As I'm like, fucker eats eggs.
Yes, so eloquent.
But yeah, like it's interesting that they're now bringing this Madripoor into the cinematic universe,
the MCU.
I almost said DCEU, and I was like, no.
I was like, we've already established that they are the lesser universe, and
what is it? DCEU is the Wish version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Absolutely.
I think it's which makes me excited. It opens up the world for, like, now we can get some X-Men things that can probably start popping up. I think I read an article that said, like, the lady that was in the episode, Selby, that was the name of a mutant that was, like, really prominent in the comic book series. Yeah. But
the Smiling Tiger is also a mutant, or was supposed to be a mutant, but instead we had Sam be the Smiling Tiger, which I was here for.
But that makes me excited that they're putting all these, like,
things in place for mutants.
Kind of like putting in these little seeds of mutants going into the cinematic universe, which makes me excited because X-Men is one of my favorite Marvel IPs. I think I grew up with the 90s television show. I was super into anything that was X-Men. I played X-Men video games when I was a kid.
Oh, X-Men is legit, and I'm very excited for them to start bringing mutants into the MCU. I don't think we're going to see them in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I like that we are slowly setting up the little breadcrumbs to be like, it's coming, yo.
Yeah,
it's coming.
And I thought it was going to take a while, and they've already started planting seeds in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I was like, okay.
Well, I mean, there was also, they planted the seeds in WandaVision.
In WandaVision as well, with fucking...
Pietro?
Right.
And well, and like mainly like her children, because they were Wiccan and Speed in the X-Men comics.
Correct.
So to be planting those, because they could technically be the first actual mutants because they were birthed of Wanda instead of like manifested through like
of an Infinity Stone or something.
Of the Infinity Stone, or manifested from like treatments and bullshit.
You mean radioactive spider bites?
That's Friday's episode, but we'll get there. Don't worry. I love this episode, and the end of the episode where we got AO from Wakanda. I was like, yes,
Wakanda forever.
Let's address the fact that Zemo's problematic, even though he was the best character in this episode this week, besides maybe Sharon Carter.
Oh my god. Remind me never to piss Emily Van Camp off. Like, she was doing some hardcore ass kicking.
All the ass kicking. And let's figure out what she's about, because she's clearly working for somebody, and probably the power broker that we still haven't met, even though the episode was called The Power Broker, unless she really is the power broker.
That'd be a gag.
That would be great. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and find out. But AO's back. She was badass in Civil War. And she was badass in Infinity Wars, trying to fight off all the people attacking Shuri.
Hell yes.
I'm so here for this. Wakanda's back. We're going to get justice for King T'Chaka.
And I forget which king was which, because I just remember T'Challa.
T'Chaka was T'Challa's dad, who was blown up at the UN in Civil War. Because that was that started the domino effect, because that was really Zemo framing Bucky.
Correct.
And then that's when that started all of the bullshit, which led us to the point we're at right now.
Correct.
So the fact that we're bringing in these players is amazing. Let's talk about some social implications, because that's what we are on this podcast.
So there was a line that Zemo said that I thought was really interesting. Sam was, they just got into Madripoor, and Sam was like, y'all got me dressed up as a pimp, or something to that effect. And Zemo said something like, oh, it's only Americans that would, would say a comment like that to say that a well-dressed man or like a flamboyantly dressed black man
is a pimp.
And I thought that was really interesting because, as Americans, we do have that very stereotyped image of what a pimp is.
Yeah.
But, around the world, that's the image of a successful black man. A successful, well-to-do, well, maybe not in this case, because technically isn't the man he's impersonating, like, a black market arms dealer or some shit.
Something like that. He's not a good man.
He's not a good man. But, like, the idea that, like, a well-dressed, some semblance of a well-dressed black man must connotate, like, oh, he's a drug dealer or a pimp or, things like that, is really interesting. That it's a very our stereotype of that is very much an American viewpoint and not necessarily a global, like a worldwide stance. I thought that was really interesting that they brought that up, because it really makes you think about, like, us Americans, we aren't the only people on this planet.
No, absolutely. And I think that it was an important line to put in, because their head writer is a black man, which I think was cool to kind of point out and just be like, hey, let's stop like having all of the stereotypes about black men be negative, which I think is important. Speaking of globalness, so here is some tea about this episode. So this show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, had a major subplot that was changed at the last minute because we are currently in a global pandemic. The subplot for The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was that there was a global illness, disease, something that was running through, which is why a couple episodes back they were hijacking the vaccines, because they specifically say vaccines, And all of us were super triggered by that.
Like,
Oh, no, let them take vaccines. People need vaccines, right? And they have changed it, though, from everybody being sick with this same illness to there being a tuberculosis outbreak, specifically with, was it Carly's, it was Mama Donna, I think was the character's name. I don't know if it was directly her mom or just someone who was like her mom. But she ended up dying of TB. But there was supposed to be like extended scenes with this character and with what was going on, and they're like, nope, squashing that. It's something that's kind of happening, but we're not going to address it anymore because we are going to not deal with real life in our fiction. And
this is too soon.
So if anybody noticed that there was some weird like camera angles or cuts or a lot of like lines that were happening with characters not being seen while they were saying it, it's because they were dubbed over and they edited the footage so it looked like it was part of the scene because they took all of that out.
And that's the tea.
And that's the tea of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So, can I take a minute to talk about my favorite show on the planet? I've seen every episode.
Fine.
You're going to deal with it. Wonderful. So, what people might not realize about me is that I have seen every single episode of Law and Order SVU. Every single episode.
I mean, I have not seen every episode, but all the episodes that I did consume as a teenager I've loved. I think that was my favorite Law and Order franchise.
Oh yeah, it is by far the superior one.
It's the most successful.
It is the most successful. It has lasted longer than even the original Law and Order. Mm-hmm. It's currently in its 22nd season.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
However, we were worried about its future when 10 years ago, Christopher Milani, or Elliot Stabler, left the show in a very abrupt way and was immediately replaced by a plethora of different characters that have come through until they found a group that worked together well, which is our current cast. And we haven't seen him in 10 years until now. We have Christopher Milani is back, Elliot Stabler and Olivia Benson are back together again. I am so happy. I watched the episode. I cried like a little bitch, and I don't even care. It was handled so well, so brilliantly. Just to have these characters sit down and realize that it wasn't just like, oh, I'm so happy you're back. Like, there's still pain. There's still trauma from them not having spoken in 10 years. Like, you find out that Stabler, like, has been living in Italy for the past for the past several years and has been like not even in the country, so him missing all of these major events made sense. You find out that he says that he didn't say goodbye to her because he knew that if he spoke to Olivia before he left, he wouldn't have had the strength to leave, and he needed to for his own personal health. And you're like, damn, that's some deep shit. And I'm so happy that they're covering all of this. And then it jumps off into his spin-off series, which is Organized Crime, which is set up in this Law and Order episode. And Olivia is featured in this spin-off series, but she isn't going to be a major player. She's not going to be in every episode. And it's very well structured. We're getting to meet these characters, and they're all these new characters that are being put together, but still within the same world. And I'm living for it. I have a new Law and Order franchise to watch, and I am so excited. I won't bore everybody with it every week, but when something amazing happens, I'm going to be like, we're going to talk about Law and Order for like 2 minutes because I'm happy.
Yay. I really did enjoy Elliot Stabler as a character. I thought he was wildly compelling.
Oh, Christopher Milani is such a good actor, and he's a straight snack.
Oh my god, yes. I think I had a few sexual awakenings because of Christopher Milani as Elliot Stabler. And his stint on Oz. That HBO show. Yeah,
no, and everything he's in, I love him. I'm just like, you go, Christopher Milani. You're wonderful.
And he's like, yeah, I'm daddy.
No, absolutely.
He like owns it and is like, yes.
Oh god, and he's like embracing like that salt and pepper hair right now, and I'm like here for it. I'm here for it.
Again, yes.
Also, just gonna throw it out there, the Mighty Ducks TV show on Disney Plus is actually really good. I'm sure we'll cover it in like 5 years when JJ finally watches it on JJ Plays Catch Up. But Emilio Estevez looks exactly the same as he did when the Mighty Ducks movies came out.
I mean, yeah, he must be sipping from the same water that Keanu Reeves is sipping from.
And Paul Rudd.
And Paul Rudd. Like, those guys are, like, infinitely...
Yeah, wherever their fountain of youth is, call me. And let me find it, because I live for that.
And it's not fair that they're Bogardian for themselves. Like, that's just rude.
It very much is.
It's just rude.
But speaking of JJ Plays Catch Up, JJ, you watched another episode of The Mandalorian.
I did.
I
saw
so proud
episode
of you.
3. I'm proud of myself too. Episode 3 was when he delivers Frog Lady.
He delivers Frog Lady and her eggs.
And then some shit happens. I do want to point out, does the Frog Lady realize, like, her eggs are missing?
I'm sure she does, but it's not enough for, like, it's not, I think she's more grateful that she's back with her husband and that things are going to be okay, because probably, like, statistically, like, all the eggs probably weren't going to make it anyway, so...
I mean, I suppose so, but, like...
or maybe she doesn't realize, like, that many were missing, because, like, realistically, maybe he only ate, like, 5. And there's, like, a shit ton of eggs in there.
I mean, he only ate, like, what, a couple on screen.
Yeah, so, like, it's not like he was, like... ate like all of them.
He's just like crunch and munching these.
But I do love that you're like, I watched a new episode of The Mandalorian. Let's see how much shit does the Baby Yoda
eat?
Everything.
He literally eats everything. But yeah, so he goes and tries to find other Mandalorians, and then he like goes on a boat, and they're like, yeah, we'll take you there, and then they like fucking ambush him.
Yep.
And toss him into, like, this sea monster. And they toss Baby Yoda in there. I'm like, what the fuck? What this baby... So, like, do people know that this baby is, like, Jedi, like Force sensitive, and so they want to, like, eradicate him? Is that the reason?
I don't think that they
Why do they want to kill Baby Yoda?
I think they just needed to feed something to the sea monster, and they're like, you'll do.
Oh. Well,
I think that's what it was.
Up.
Again, I haven't actually watched this episode since it came out.
Well,
I watched a recap that didn't answer all of these questions you're asking right now. Like, and I don't have time to watch all of it.
Yeah, and I put in my notes that, like, to sum up any Mandalorian episode is Mandalorian shows up someplace, he needs to find something. The people are like, oh, I know where to find it, but you have to do something for me. Mm-hmm. And then he does it for them, and then they're like, okay, it's over here. So, like, I put down, this is, like, one of those annoying escort missions in video games where you have to, like, take, like, the Mandalorian is, like, has to take this Baby Yoda to all these, like, different places so that he can, like, finally complete his mission. And I'm like, this feels like the video game nerd in me is triggered. Because I'm like, ugh, it's like fucking Ashley in Resident Evil 4. She, like, wouldn't shut up. And gets her ass killed.
Hysterical. But, I mean, we did get to meet more Mandalorians. And, I mean, people who were big nerds for the, the Clone Wars series. Bo-Katan, who was, like, the main lady. Like, that was, like, a big deal because she was, like, animated before. Now she's here in the real life. So that was, like, a big deal in, like, the realm of, like, all of the nerd bullshit. Like, people are like, oh my god, it's Bo-Katan! So that was fun for people. It was less fun for me. I didn't watch Clone Wars, the TV show. But I heard about it on the internet. Uh-huh. And so that was a big deal. So her being there was, like, a cool thing.
Yeah, she kicked ass.
She does kick ass.
She kicked so much ass.
Yeah, so that was that episode.
I also put down our stormtroopers idiots because
that's canon.
Well, I know that, like, they have
terrible
they have, like, terrible aim, but, like, the general dude is like, close all the doors, and then the stormtrooper says, which one? I'm like, he's fucking said all of them. It's like, duh.
But yeah, stormtroopers are the brightest at most points. So,
yeah, but so, like, I guess they were trying to, like, get equipment from this, like, or guns or supplies or something from the ship, and so they, like, Mandalorian's like, okay, I'll help you do this thing, and then they're like, oh, we're actually going to take the damn ship. And then he's like, no, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
But he does it anyways because he's like, fuck, I just gotta...
Yeah, I need to get this child to, like, where it needs to be.
Yeah, I just need to get this thing to where it needs to go. But, yeah, basically, so he, like, does the things, and then, like, now he's, what? Now he's on a boat to some sort of island where...
Sure.
I think that they're...
Oh, yeah, more things are going to happen. Like, you're going to lose your goddamn mind as you watch the series as it keeps going. And I'm excited to see that happen. Hey, there's some cool shit coming up though.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm really excited about, there is the Musical of Musicals, the musical is going to be live streaming, and it is a fundraiser for flood damage to the York Theater. It's going to be premiering on April 18th at 7 p.m. and will be available to view on demand through April 21st. I am a big Broadway nerd. You're a pretty big Broadway nerd. And this cast is bananas.
It's, like, ridiculous. Like, they, like, managed to get, like, every person under the fucking sun.
Okay. So, this all-star cast will feature appearances by Tony Award winners Betty Buckley, Matthew Broderick, Andre DeShields, Jane Krakowski, Patti LuPone, Audra McDonald, Donna Murphy, Mandy Patinkin, Cheetah Rivera, and Lilas White. Oscar and Tony Award winner Mercedes Ruehl, Drama Desk Award winners Louis Black, Richard Kind, Jose Lana, and Isaac Mizrahi. Which I always forget that he's a Drama Desk Award winner, and that makes me happy because he's also a designer. And
yeah,
he just
I know him as a
joy.
designer.
He's a joy. Olivier Award winner Leslie Margarita, Emmy Award winner Deborah Messing, Tony Award nominees Andrea McArdle, Brad Oscar, and Ethan Slater. And, I mean, the list goes on. Like, there's so many people. Oh, and then also former Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Right? Like, okay.
I mean, sure, we're throwing everybody else in this.
Let's
so,
do it.
I will be watching. It is a, like I said, it is a live stream for, and it's free to watch for, fundraiser for the York Theater because there was a major flood in the York Theater, lots of damage. We want to preserve, we want to fix, we want to be able to put on more new things. So the free stream is available at yorktheater.org, and donations can be made at their GoFundMe link, which I'm sure they will link all over the place. We'll put a link to the York Theater for the stream up on our Instagram. But I'm excited to watch this because I miss musicals so much.
For real, right? And it's like the cast is bonkers. Like, what the hell? Like, all these like random ass people in like one show. Like, this has got to be insane.
Yeah, all the people. I'm so excited. I can't wait. And we will do a quick little coverage of what we saw once that airs and we get a chance to watch it, because we have a few days to watch it, and I don't know which one I'm going to watch it on, but I'm going to watch it.
I'm going to do it. Other
things that are coming up that we got excited about. Oh, this is one we didn't even know about until your boyfriend texted us and said, hey, I want to watch this thing.
Yeah, there's this new original TV series on Amazon Prime called Them, and it's a kind of a horror, like a kind of a horror / suspense thriller, and it takes place kind of in the 50s and deals with like race relations and like a new family, like a black family moves into like a predominantly white neighborhood and shit goes down.
Yeah, so they're dealing with like the neighborhood, like doing all of these like terrible things to them because they're a black family living in this neighborhood in the 50s. Like at one point, like in the trailer, they had they walk out of their house and there's just a bunch of like black like dolls that they made
like
hanging
effigies.
from nooses.
Yeah.
Hanging like outside of like from their trees outside their front door, and I was like, oh, this makes me uncomfortable.
Like, this is
but in an important way. And then, but then there's also like in the house that these people are living in, there's also like
supernatural things.
Supernatural shit happening too, and you're like, what?
Like, what is going on? This family's fucked.
This family's life is just terrible.
It's real.
And I'm ready to sit down and watch it because it's going to be great, but it's not coming out for a while. I don't remember when.
Yeah, and originally my boyfriend had said like this was a sequel to
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele. I always get the two mixed up, for their names mixed up. I always call him Keegan Michael Keel or
Keegan Michael Peele instead of Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah, but anyways,
God, what are you trying to say? Are you saying some making some really bad social implications here?
No, I'm just bad with names. I'm just really terrible with names. Yeah, it has nothing to do with Jordan Peele's Us movie. Because even though it's like, it would be perfect, it would be perfectly like marketed as like us and then them, but it has nothing to do with that like movie universe. Although I think that would be kind of cool if he made like a TV show about that universe and having like the tethered and all that kind of like expand on that kind of a part of the movie. That'd be kind of cool, but this has nothing to do with that.
No, I don't. It doesn't appear to be involved with one another.
I don't even think Jordan Peele's even in...
No, he's not even, from what I could tell on the IMDb's. Oh, this comes out soon. It says new series starts April 9th.
Oh, goddamn. That's like
soon.
That's very soon.
So we will keep our eye out for that. And Amazon does weekly releases typically, right? For episodes.
I haven't seen any like weekly. I haven't seen like a television show series on it.
Well, I guess we'll find out, because if it's something we can binge through the whole thing, we'll do that at some point. If it's a weekly release, we'll try to add it into our rotation, but we'll see.
We'll see.
It may be something that we just do a major talk about at the end of the series if it's a weekly release. Just to be, or if it's just terrible after the first episode, be like, never mind.
Just kidding.
Let's see. Some legitly cool trailers drop. New Space Jam trailer, yo.
Welcome to the Space Jam.
And like the theme song's even kind of the same, but like updated. And I'm so excited because, okay, as someone who used to watch basketball a lot, I vividly remember LeBron James's first game because it was in Sacramento against the Sacramento Kings, and we're like, okay, let's see who this like 18-year-old kid is. And I was like, oh, well, damn, he's super, super talented, but they lost that game. But no, but I was like, this kid's gonna go off and do like great things, and now he's in a Space Jam movie. And I'm already hopeful that his acting will be better than Michael Jordan's.
He's been in a movie before.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. I didn't see it.
It was that Amy Schumer movie, Trainwreck. He was...
I didn't see that movie because I don't like Amy Schumer all that much.
He was in that movie and he was actually quite funny. He was like Bill Hader's like best friend.
Oh yeah, I heard he was okay in it. And so like I have hopes that he's going to be better than Michael Jordan. I'm excited to see where this goes. But if you're going to remove Pepe Le Pew from the movie, please don't put the Droogs from Clockwork Orange in there instead. Ooh. That was a terrible life choice.
Ooh.
I'm excited to see all the WB properties in there. I think it's bananas. I think it's going to be fun, like watching, like figuring out and be like, there's Mr. Freeze, the Flintstones, King Kong, Magilla Gorilla. Yeah. And then I was like, the Droogs?
Like, ooh.
Okay. So that happened. We'll see. The Suicide Squad trailer came out, the Red Band trailer and the Green Band trailer. It's going to be a movie that will probably be better than the other one that came out for Suicide Squad. So,
I mean, we were excited with the first Suicide Squad trailer back in like 2016, and we're like, oh my god, this looks so good, and then
it was garbage,
and then it was poop.
And then it was a bad movie. So, I mean, this could very well go down that same path of it's a really great trailer with a terrible movie. But, I mean, James Gunn usually makes fun movies, so it could still be fun, or it'll be bad. We'll let you know when it comes out. But the last thing that I need to spend a moment. I'm aware we all miss Broadway, and that Broadway holds a special place near and dear to my heart. But I heard a rumor that the Game of Thrones...
in St. Petersburg?
The Game of Thrones is going to be a Broadway play that is rumored to take place 9 years before the television show. And for the love of God, if George R.R. Martin is going to write a goddamn script for a play, why won't you finish the books?
I will do all the things except I will write spin-offs. I will write Broadway plays. I will not finish this book.
I don't need to know what happened 9 years before. Like, would it be interesting? Absolutely. Would it be a cool thing to find out? Sure. Do I need it right now? No, not when I'm still waiting on 2 more books.
Yep, and you're going to continue to wait because there's no news about the progress of those books at all. But we've got spin-offs and we've got Broadway plays. So you're going to have to continue to want because that's what's going to happen.
Well, I'm living in a realm of sadness right now, so I feel like we should just wrap things up. And continue enjoying our podcast. If you think we're great, rate us, subscribe, leave a review on your platform that you listen to podcasts. We're available on all platforms now, I believe, at this point.
Yeah.
So do the things you do on the podcast to follow us and listen to us and be updated on when we drop new episodes, which will almost always be Wednesdays and Fridays. But if that changes and you're subscribed, you know.
You will find out.
Follow us on Instagram at Nobody Asked Our Opinion Podcast. Follow us on YouTube also. Nobody Asked Our Opinion Podcast on YouTube.
Yeah, we will upload on YouTube as well. So yes. If you don't do the podcast, you can listen to us on YouTubes.
Yes. You can do the YouTubes. Follow me on social media. I'm at Joey Snow 2006.
And I'm pianoman_05.
Also, give our unpaid intern a follow. She does her social media at The Artist Assist. You can follow our producer, Jonathan, at Jelly Sound on all platforms. And yeah, we will be back on Friday to talk about Andrew Garfield in The Amazing Spider-Man.
More Spider-Mans.
So much Spider-Man. All right, that's our podcast. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.